Welcome to the first lecture of this week. This is the last lecture in the module 1, which was about understanding sustainability and sustainable development. So, what we will do in this particular lecture is relationship between approaches to design for sustainability and the application context. So, we will take an example and try to see how on diverse approaches can apply to a given problem context. So, as we discussed in the last week, the system design for sustainability or design for sustainability can be approached at the 4 different levels, that is the product level, where product innovation level, where design approaches focus on improving existing or developing completely new products. In product service system innovation level, the focus is beyond individual products towards integrated combination of products and services. Spatio-social innovation level, here the context of innovation is on human settlements and the spatio-social conditions of their communities. This can be addressed on different scales from neighborhoods to cities. The 4th level is the socio-technical innovation level. Here design approaches are focusing on promoting radical changes on how societal needs such as nutrition and transport or mobility are fulfilled, and thus on supporting transitions to new socio-technical systems. I would suggest that when you are going through this particular lecture, if you also keep the last 2 lectures, that is lecture 2A and 2B. So, the lecture 2A and 2B, which was talking about diverse approaches to design for sustainability, if you keep that particular presentation also open in your laptop screen, it will be great. So, when I take you through one particular example, if you want to recall what that particular approach was, you can pause the video and go back to that particular slide, read about it, and then again restart the lecture on the example. So, the problem statement that we will be taking forward in today's lecture is, so you see this 200 milliliter water bottle. It's a plastic bottle. The body of the bottle, the transparent part, this part is made up of a plastic called polyethylene terephthalate PET, and the cap and the small ring at the cap, they are made up of another plastic called polypropylene PP. So, we can finish this water in almost one go and then the bottle is thrown away. It is used mostly during events like parties, conferences, meetings and so on. We might argue that why not give a bigger bottle, say a 1 liter bottle or say 500 ml bottle, because if this event is going to run for a couple of hours, you might need to have more water which you will keep on drinking after regular intervals of time. But usually it has been observed that if it is a 500 ml bottle, mostly the water goes wasted, because people usually do not like to carry a bottle around them, or they might just leave the bottle at some place and then forget about it, or they have no way to know which one is their bottle. So, usually it is observed that giving a 200 ml bottle is a more optimal size rather than giving a 500 ml bottle, and of course not a 100 ml bottle. So, now you can imagine the amount of waste that is being created because of these bottles during any event. You might also like to go for these bottles, say in an airport or such similar kind of context where you just want to have a drink of water and throw away the bottle. So, let us try to look at the different approaches and how each of these approaches will try to solve this particular problem. So, first we start with the product innovation level. So, the first approach in this product innovation level was the green design. I will not go through the details of these, but I have tried to incorporate one slide so that it helps you in recalling what the definition of that particular context was, and we can go to the example. So, in green design we are focusing on reduce, reuse or recycle. So, the many different approaches can be. So, one approach can be reduce the amount of material used in this product. So, I can add additional corrugations to it. As a result, my bottle becomes more strong. So, all these shapes that you can see on these bottle, the things which are coming in and going out on the form of the bottle, or say this particular, they are the corrugations and they are added to give strength. So, I can use lesser thickness of the material to get the same level of strength. So, by addition of corrugation I can add strength and then I can reduce the wall thickness of the plastic material used. As a result, the volume of plastic used will reduced. Or say another concept of green design is reusing parts of the whole products in design of new products. So, say for example, the PET bottle that can be used for making the denim, either trousers or the jacket, and the bottle caps, they can be reused to make buttons. It does not solve the problem, but yes, if it is if the product can be collected back, then it can be converted into these products. There is lot of problem in the collection. A major part of it is nowadays collected, but still a big chunk of it ends into landfills or the oceans. Another trouble is, in order to make these alternate products, I need to spend in more energy for making the product, more energy for cleaning these bottles, crushing them, processing them, and so on. Coming to the eco design concept, where we do a life cycle assessment. So, say for example, I can drink the same water which I can drink in a plastic bottle by using a glass bottle. So, these glass bottles, after drinking water, can be thrown in a trash can and they can be collected, they can be cleaned and again used for another cycle of providing drinking water. Or I can install a water dispenser and I can keep some paper cups over there. So, these are paper cups with a thin lining of plastic on the inside surface. So, anybody who wants to drink water, they can fill a paper cup, drink the water and throw away the paper cups. In this case, the waste that is being generated is the paper cups, which are not recyclable because of the plastic layer inside it. Another option is I can have glasses made up of glass. So, one can drink water, then keep it in a tray or container on the side, and those glasses can be cleaned back and reused. In this case, the troubles might be like the impact which is caused due to the cleaning, which is soap and water. So, what the life cycle assessment approach or the eco design approach will try to emphasize is do a comparative between all these 4 approaches. You can also take up many more alternatives which offers you the same functionality, and then compare which one is the most eco-friendly under a given circumstances. The next 2 lectures of this week will deal with how to do this. Now comes the emotionally durable design, wherein you want to enable the person to get attached to the product and as a result elongate the life of the product, which can be done by enabling personalization or designing products that age with dignity or designing products that allow users to capture memories. Say for example, I call people for a party to my house for the birthday of my child, and I can give every guest who is coming in a glass with something etched on it which helps them to remember the event. So, we love with love from our sweet angel on her first birthday. So, this can be a personalized, this is just an example of one way of personalizing. You can also give away the glasses to the guests with a small etching machine and say, okay, personalize it here itself and start drinking water, and you can carry away the glass with you. So, in this case I am elongating the life of the glass. So, my guests can carry away this glass along with them and keep it as a memory of the event. Next one, design for sustainable behavior change. So, in this case you try to make people adopt a desired sustainable behavior and abandon an unwanted sustainable behavior. So, say for example, what we can do is we can install a water dispenser. Again, because I am using a mineral water bottle or some kind of purified water, so I am ensuring it is safe drinking water. So, you install a water dispenser. You have another dispenser from which one can buy bottles. So, either you carry your own bottles or you can buy a bottle from that dispenser which can be carried along with you for your other upcoming trips. Along with a campaign statement, Do you know each year the per capita consumption of water bottled in plastic is more than 100 liter in our country? Take a step towards carrying your own bottle and save our planet. So, in this particular way you are trying to create certain kind of awareness in people and also enabling them to buy a bottle then and there if they are not carrying one and keep on using it thereafter. So, this can be a concept which is inspired by the design for sustainable behavior approach. Now, coming to the cradle to cradle design approach. So, a company called Dopper, they designed a reusable bottle which has been cradle to cradle certified. So, in cradle to cradle certification there are different levels of certification that you can get. So, for their bottle it is again a reusable bottle. For their bottle it has a silver certification, silver level certification. You can go to this website and read more about this bottle. There is another PET bottle which has been designed by a company called UAB Aquavita, and they have also got a cradle to cradle certification. Their certification is a basic level certification. So, it is again a disposable water bottle. So, one time use and then you dispose it off. It is made up of PET like the bottle that we started with, and it is cradle to cradle certified. Again the problem is one has to take these bottles and put it into the recycling and reuse phase, and it does not help in changing behavior of people towards more sustainable consumption. Then comes the nature inspired design or biomimicry design, wherein you can mimic in terms of form, products and systems. So, like I told you in the first example, the green design example, that you can produce corrugations in your bottle and as a result it will help you to strengthen the bottle, and that will you can have thinner wall thickness for the plastic material used. So, you use lesser plastic material. So, in this particular bottle which has been developed, they took inspiration from a pine tree. So, they found that to protect the bottle from pressure under compression. So, there are lots of bottles stacked together which will be under compression because of the weight of all other bottles on top of them. So, to protect the bottle from pressure under compression, impact, because it is moving in a truck. So, there will be impact or shear forces. So, when you are trying to open the bottle, the inclination, angle, thickness and depth of the helical structures. So, there are helical structures over here. They keep on varying. They vary according to the amount of vertical and horizontal strength needed at certain surface curvature of the bottle. How was this developed? Based on a natural model of spiral growth, the team developed a new design for the structure of the bottle's main body, creating helical structures that make the bottle more durable without adding extra weight. So, by doing this, UNICEF estimates that the new design has reduced total raw material use by 7%, enabling savings of 250 tons of raw material per year. So, again it does not affect people from changing their consumption. They still will consume lot of bottles, but in this particular context each bottle's weight is reduced by using biomimicry principles, and you can bring in a certain amount of impact. The last one, which is designed for the base of the pyramid. So, we spoke about it that there can be two approaches to it. Approach one is where I consider them as consumers. So, following that particular approach, I can sell them smaller pouches of water. These pouches are way much more less expensive than the bottles of the PET bottles of water, but again it does make clean drinking water accessible to the base of the pyramid, but it is also low cost, but these plastic films are a big time waste as well, and they cannot be recycled. Now, coming to the second approach of base of pyramid, where we try to understand what is their requirement and then try to fulfill through interesting product service solutions. So, now we go to the next level, which is the product service system innovation level. So, as we spoke about, in this particular level, we try to bring in a combination of product and service together, which are together able to satisfy a particular unit of satisfaction. And it says that you really do not need to encourage individual consumption and ownership of mass produced goods, but if you move towards satisfaction based, you can move towards low resource intensive products which are shared by the community. So, this was the example that I gave you in the previous class as well. So, this is a water dispenser. You can carry your own bottles. So, mostly the people will carry their own bottles or containers, and per use you can pay for the water. So, this is the approach which we can take for giving clean drinking water to people in the base of the pyramid, but not necessarily base of the pyramid. This approach is a very frugal and effective approach. This can be set up in many different locations, for in example in public places, in railway stations, in government offices, in institutions and so on. Now, coming to the third level. Before going to the third level, the benefit of this second of this solution is also that I do not have waste in terms of bottles of water, in terms of the bottle which is plastic, or in terms of the paper cups which is again paper plus plastic, which needs to go through a recycling phase or which needs to go into the landfills. Here everybody is carrying their own bottle because it is more economical to do that, and it gets into their behavior slowly that one has to carry their own bottle and then one can pay and drink water. And at the same time, the providers of this service, because they charge say 2 rupees per liter of water, they know that more efficiently they can run this machine with the least amount of wastages, with the least amount of impact on the environment, with the least amount of energy to be consumed. It is in their economical interest to go towards environmental sustainability as well as social sustainability, the socio-ethical sustainability. Coming to the third level, which is the spatio-social innovation level, what it talks about is assisting with conception, development and scaling up of social innovation. If you remember from the last lecture, what it was talking about is a major focus is on social innovation, and we use the existing assets in terms of technological assets, knowledge assets, or physical assets like roads or conditions of that particular place. So, we use the existing assets to conceptualize, develop and scale up social innovation. Not much innovation happens in this particular context in terms of technology. There was also a we also saw that there are different interpretations and perspectives on social innovation and what roles design can play in these social innovations. So, social innovation can mean well-being of people, can mean providing people with their basic amenities like nutrition, drinking water, roads and so on. It can also imply harmony and so on. So, there can be many interpretations of what social innovation is, but wherever it is connected to the communities, it is about social innovation. So, I will show you one particular example. This example is how people are trying to revive the rain fed rivers. So, not much technology is used, we are using our existing assets and knowledge, and by mobilizing people, mobilizing organizations and through them mobilizing economic resources, one is trying to revive the rivers. The model is also scalable. It has already been scaled to some 14 rivers in India. So, we will go through this lecture.
Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, Adab. Today I am going to speak about one of the most important source of our existence next to oxygen. Water. I see hundreds of people sitting here in the auditorium, or I can say 70% of this auditorium is filled with water. Yeah? Because 70% of our body is water. Our bones, our skin, our muscles, everything is made of water. Isn't it amazing? Everything is what we see is dust of water. There is so much of water in the world. We see a waterfall, oceans, huge lakes, reservoir. But sometimes we just wonder that why there is scarcity of water. Have you ever thought about that? I tell you something very interesting. Let's say if we put all the water in the world in this bottle, how much do you think is a drinkable water? Any guess? Just this much. Nice. Though there is 70 to 75% water on the Earth's surface, only 1% is a drinkable water. And out of that, 90% is in Antarctica. So the other day, I was discussing with one of my friends. So he asked me a very powerful question. He said, Mr. Hathi, what is your point? Is it a scarcity of water or people's relationship with the water? So I really started thinking about that. And ladies and gentlemen, you are right. More important is our relationship with the water. Have you ever wondered what is your relationship with the water? Nearly 3,000 farmers are migrating from the rural areas to the urban areas every day in this India. For the livelihood and because of scarcity of water. My previous speaker spoke about open defecation. The government is trying hard to give a toilets in each and every home since last so many years, but they failed because of scarcity of water. Farmers are committing suicide. You must have heard about that. One of the reasons for farmer suicide is scarcity of water. Our government says the whole ratio between the urban and rural area has changed. It used to be 30 to 70%, now it is 45 to 55%, which is also creating a problem in the urban area. Understanding this, that why water is so important. The Art of Living, since last so many years, doing several projects on the conservation of water. We have made the check dams, rainwater harvesting, recharging the groundwater, which is very important. Rejuvenating the river, our traditional river. We used to have rivers in all over the countries, but which is not rejuvenated since so many years. Tree plantation also, which is very important aspect. But today I'm going to share a very beautiful story of transformation with you. This is a Raina river in the Latur district of Maharashtra, and a man behind the story, Makran Dave, or his other name is Makran Jadhav. He is a civil engineer by profession, hails from the farmer family. He is also an Art of Living trainer. And his area from where he is coming, the Latur district, since last so many years, that area is drought affected. So he has seen that scarcity and struggle for the water from the childhood. He used to share that when I used to see my mother, walking kilometers together just to fetch a 2 bucket full of water. It was so painful, मेरी माँ को जाना पड़ रहा है और वहाँ से रोज बाल्टी उठा के पानी लाना पड़ रहा है. So he was always looking for a solution, that what is the solution? That why there is so much of scarcity of the water? And after he became a trainer, he started conducting the workshop in different areas, in the villages, started interacting with the people. Slowly he could understand the gravity of the problem. And then he decided, I must do something about this. I need to create a model, sustainable model, which can inspire so many other people. So he took it as a challenge. He selected a river, a Raina river, which is in the Rainapur village. And the population of that village is around 20,000. So initially he faced a lot of challenges. One of the biggest challenge was people were very apathetic to the issue. They were expecting the government, the local administration to take care of that issue. Oh, why should I take the responsibility? It's not my responsibility, you know. And alcoholism was one of the biggest issue in that. Laid back attitude of the youth. Oh, I don't want to do anything, you know, I'm getting everything, you know, I'm getting all the freebies from the government. Why should I do anything? And then there was a lot of groupism on the basis of caste and religion, you know, political groups. So to overcome all these challenges, you know, he targeted the youth. And he organized one workshop called Youth Leadership Training Program, which is the most powerful workshop of the Art of Living Foundation. It's an 8-day, very intense training program for the youth, which really helps them to transform their mindset, their behavior, their attitudes, their relationship with the people, and, you know, the society. So that made this youth, you know, he trained 50 youth, a change agent for the society. And through them, he slowly started mobilizing the society, you know, bringing people together. I tell you something very interesting. You know, in villages, you have this Gram Sabha. Probably you have heard about it. The Gram Sabha is exactly a model of parliament in the village. So unless the Gram Sabha pass the resolution that they want to do something in that particular village, you can't do anything. And that was a village of 20,000 people. So it really took him some time to bring these people together and, you know, take a decision, yes, we want to revive this river. And not only reviving, he inspired people through this youth to contribute for the same. You know, that changing the mindset, oh, the government, administration, no, it is my responsibility. So there was a lot of challenges, but I say that बादलों के दरमियान कुछ ऐसी साजिश हुई, मेरा घर मिट्टी का था और वहीं बारिश हुई, उन्हें भी जिद है वहीं बिजलियां गिराने की, हमें भी जिद है वहीं आशियाना बनाने की. So his constant, you know, perseverance to do something has made a change. Let me tell you, let me take you through the journey of this transformation. This is the Reina River on the 8th of March 2015. Oh, whether I should really call it a river is a question, you know. So on the 8th of March, it was like this. And it took almost 90 days of hard work, you know, to deepen the river, widen the river, and clear the entire stretch. So it was a 4,000 meters long, 25 meter wide, and 7 meter deep. 90 days. And they removed 60,000 cubic meters of silt from that. You know, silt is like a black salt, a black soil, you know, which you can use as a manure. It's very, very fertile. So the farmers, they took away all that soil and they put it into their farms. 60,000 cubic meters of soil. So once that entire patch was clear, they just had to wait for rainfall. And here you have. In the first rainfall itself, the entire river was filled with the fresh water. 126 crore liters of water was stored. And not only that, 4 times more got percolated in the ground. 4 times more. That is almost 500 crores. You know, it takes some time, but over a period of next 3 months. And if I give you this figure, my earlier speaker was speaking about that, you know, on an average, the urban people need about 135 liters of water, but they don't get it. In the village, it's very different. They need only 55 liters of water per day. They use or they consume. So, a village of 20,000 people, in a year, they consume only 40 crore liters of water. And we have stored 126 crore of liter in just 3 months' time. That is the number, you know, if you decode that 126 crore liter. And 2,000 acres of land got irrigated. Yeah, I think we deserve the big round of applause from you, which will also help you to be a little more enthusiastic in this afternoon. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, many times people ask, like, how do you measure the effectiveness of any project? So I often say the first thing is, people ask this question, is it a cost effective? Now, if I show you the figure, Government estimate was 6.28 crores for that river regeneration, and we did that only in 152 crores. And out of that, 75% was contributed by the community, and rest of the money, 25%, was given by the Art of Living Foundation. Sustainability. So when community is doing something, there is a sense of ownership. Oh, I have done it and I have to maintain it. So it is the most sustainable model that we had. You don't have to worry about it. Oh, that, why again next year we need to deseal that thing and maintain it. They said, yeah, it is now our baby, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about that. Sustainability and replicable. So this is not the only river. In India, we have revived more than 14 rivers. In Karnataka, in Kerala, in Maharashtra, in Andhra Pradesh. Pamba, probably many of you know about Shabrimalai. This river is connected to Shabrimalai. It was very dirty. So our people went and revived the entire river. Is it inspiring? Yes? Are you able to define your relationship with the water? Yes, no? How can you help? कर्म भूमि की दुनिया में श्रम सभी को करना पड़ता है. भगवान सिर्फ लकीरें देता है, रंग हमी को भरना पड़ता है. रंग हमी को भरना. At the end, I would say, those who like to see the dream, for them the night is too short. But those who like to fulfill it, for them the day is too short. And I feel that all of us need to be a dreamer. We need to see the big dream about our community, about our country, about our world. How can we make it a better place for our next generation to come? We got it. We have not inherited this. We have borrowed it from our next generation. So when we leave this planet, we need to make it a little more better than how we got it, right? Save water, save life.
So what kind of difference do you see in this approach? So when we were talking at the product innovation level, we were only thinking of the problem of delivering water to people, drinkable water to people during events. And how do I package that water? How do I package it more environmentally friendly or less environmentally damaging in a damaging manner? As soon as we went into the product service innovation level, we were trying to give it a different approach altogether. We were thinking it's not like I have to reach 200 ml of packaged water to people. It's like, what is the unit of satisfaction? The unit of satisfaction is not 200 ml of packaged water in a plastic bottle or a glass bottle or so on. The unit of satisfaction is clean drinking water. So this can be given by a combination of a product as well as a service. Now as soon as we get into the third level, which is the spatio-social level, our purview expands further. In a particular spatial condition, like the example that you saw in the video, it is a place where rainfalls are happening in say 3 months in a year. The rivers are rain fed rivers, so they collect water and that is the only source of water for the rest of the year. The people living in the rural areas, they have to travel a long distances to get water. So that is this characteristics of the space of the geography of that region, and people are living under certain circumstances. Their agricultural production is way much lower because of lack of water. You cannot irrigate your fields. It is completely dependent on monsoon, which means you might only be able to reap one crop in a year. Now when people come together, there is not much technological innovation that has happened, but it is like social innovation. People across many villages came together, organizations were formed, art of living along with government initiatives and so on. They came together, they formulated a particular system for cooperating with each other, expanded the river, dug up the river. The silt that they are getting, that is also very useful for them, because the people who are digging, they take it back to their farms and they are getting very healthy soil for growing their crops, and they could solve their water problem. So, the perspective with which we are looking at the problem keeps on changing from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. Our problem becomes more expanded when this, so as our speaker Mr. Darshak Hathi explained to you, it is also a sustainable model because the people in the villages came together to take care of their river. So, the chances that they will keep on doing it year after year and keep on reaping the benefits is very high, which means social and economic sustainability of that component, which will bring in eventually environmental sustainability. And it has also been replicated over 14 different rivers. Another approach in spatio-social is the systemic design, where our focus is on designing locally based productive systems in which the waste from one productive process becomes input to the other process. As we discussed in the last class, in cradle to cradle or biomimicry, we are our focus is on the nature inspired forms and processes, but in systemic design our focus is on the third level of biomimicry, that is mimicking natural ecosystems. So, I will show you one example of work which has been done by the Technical University of Turin in Italy. So, first they tried to map the existing water supply network in Turin. You can read more about this particular project in the source paper mentioned and see how the systemic design approach has been developed. So, what was observed that there is a purification plant which purifies all the water through the supply network, it is supplied to the city, and drinkable water. So, the water is purified up to the level that it becomes drinking water, is used for different kinds of purposes. So, it is drinkable water which you flush in your toilets, it is drinkable water which you use for bathing, it is drinkable water which you are using for washing your car or for watering your lawn. So, now drinkable water is not required for doing all these activities, and all this water then goes down the sewer, which is the same line. Irrespective of the level of contamination in the water, it all goes into the same line, which is the sewer line, and goes for water treatment. So, what a waste of precious resources. So, they tried to come up with an alternative by trying to do a systemic design, wherein they have to understand the how to get inspired from the nature at the ecosystem level, where waste from one process can become an input to the other process. So, the systemic design methodology drove the research team through an intense exploration of the complex properties of liquid water, touching a variety of disciplines from physics to chemistry until bioengineering and medicine, that has opened the frontiers to a more holistic understanding of water. In systemic design, you require a team with a large variety of expertise who can bring in the knowledge from as many disciplines as possible for a particular context. So, they came up with certain kinds of solution. I am not going into the depth of the solutions because they come from particular disciplines. So, it might be easy for people to understand if they belong to that discipline. If they do not belong to that discipline, the solution might not be very easy to understand. If you are interested in reading more about it, you can go through the source material I have mentioned. So, they came up with two different ways of water purification. The first one they called it as exclusion zone, in which the separation process is driven by incident light energy, which builds the exclusion zone and thereby excludes the contaminants. It is a self cleaning process that involves a behavior of water in the vicinity of hydrophilic surfaces. So, hydrophilic surface is a surface which loves water, that occur naturally at ambient temperatures and pressure. The next process that they used was the vortex process, which we already discussed in one of our previous lectures. So, to study the ability of vortex water to separate suspended solids, a cylindrical device had been made in order to let water flow, organizing itself into a vortex. A macroscopic structure has emerged spontaneously out of the flow. Lab testing proved a separation of suspended solids and natural organic matter over by 95 to 98% in a single pass, that is when water passed through it only once. So, now they came up with a development of a proposed schematic for the city. So, here you can see vortex pre-treatment. Water is being pre-treated by using vortex in this case. So, you have water coming from say rainwater or any other source, then it goes to a storage tank which can be used for personal use. It can also be used for washing. After it has been taken through a personal usage care, it can be again purified for suspended solid matter to be used in a washing machine, which is possible, or it can, this water storage can directly be used for washing clothes. Another system is the storage is the egg shaped container. From here you get spring water which you can use for cooking and drinking. This water, the waste coming from here, can be actually used for gardening purposes, or it can be taken through the phyto depurification process. So, it goes to the garden or it goes for further usage. You can also use the waste water for your toilets, which can go through a better cleaning process, because the water which is flushing out of a toilet contains much higher degree of pathogens, and then it can be also supplied into the garden or for plant growth. So, they proposed a new schematic which uses different sources of water as well as different purification systems, and the waste water from one particular process can be used in another process, or the waste from one particular process can be purified using certain process to a certain degree to be used in another process which does not require drinking water level purification. Again, in this particular model, as we pointed out while talking about the limitations of this model, we are not trying to minimize on consumption of water. You use as much water as you want, that is what this system means, but the water treatment process has been developed in a way the ecosystem works. The same problem comes if I do not reduce my water consumption, then I will build up the concentration of say either pollutants to a high degree, or I am using energy in certain processes. So, I will be consuming too much of energy. So, that is the limitation of this process, but if this could be used in a say in combination with a technique where in consumption of water by the user is also reduced, it can give a better, more holistic picture. Now, coming to the fourth level, which is the socio-technical system innovation level. So, here in this case you have both social innovation as well as technical innovation, and both of them are put together in a system and together help to achieve sustainability. So, here the focus is on transformation of socio-technical systems through strategic design. So, Chewang Norfel is a civil engineer from Ladakh. So, if you know, Ladakh is in the northernmost part of our country, and it is a very cold place and it is very high altitude. He noticed that a small stream had frozen solid under the shade of a group of poplar trees, though it flowed freely elsewhere in his yard. At that point of time, he realized, because when water is moving too quickly, that is what is happening in the river, it does not get the opportunity to freeze, whereas when the water was trickling down sluggishly from the poplar tree, it did get the time to freeze. So, based on this, he created artificial glaciers by diverting a river into a valley, slowing the stream by constructing checks. The artificial glaciers increase the groundwater recharge during summer when it starts melting, because it is melting slowly. It rejuvenates the spring and providing water for irrigation. He constructed them at lower elevations so that they melt earlier, expanding the growing season. So, this artificial glacier he first time built in 1987. Now, this is the technical innovation that has been done. Now, he took it to various villages where this can be used. So, this is a case from one of the villages. It is a Nang village in Ladakh area. The villagers decided to depute one person from each household to carry out the civil work. They camped at the site for 2 weeks, since returning home meant a 3-hour grueling walk. 40 dry masonry wall embankments covering a total length of 1375 feet were constructed. The technology was handed over to the head of the village, locally called as the Goba or Nambardar. So, occasionally flooding in the stream will also happen, and that will damage the embankments. So, the villagers would have to sustain this development as well. So, in order to sustain the infrastructure, the villagers decided to keep a revolving fund with the village council for the repair and maintenance. They indicate that so you might also know that our government has a scheme called Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which ensured 100 days of work to all poor rural households. So, they decided that major repair work or minor repair work, they can also be undertaken through this particular scheme. So, wherein they can do the repair work, or they can do the repair work or some related work into it, and the people who are involved in it can be paid by this particular government scheme. So, then this has been replicated to many other villages. So, this is the social innovation where villagers come together, arrangement for the finances is happening through contribution from the villagers, contribution from other sources were also brought in, along with combining the existing government schemes into the picture. Further technical innovation has happened. In 2014, Sonam Wangchuk improved the water harvesting design created by Chewang Norfel. So, Norfel's design of constructing glaciers could be implemented only in areas which face north, so that they get limited sunshine despite being in shade. Whereas, Wangchuk's version does not have this restriction and can be installed even at lower altitudes. Also, his design of building conical ice structure uses minimum surface area with maximum volume. This also prevents spring sun and wind from melting the ice. So, this design gives an edge over the previous one. Another big edge that is there is its maintenance is not as labor intensive as the Norfel's version was. So, according to Wangchuk, you need just one person to maintain this. So, once constructed, you need just one person to maintain this. So, let us see how this latest development creates a new influx of social innovation along with it, so that this can spread farther and wider in that particular region. You can see that this solution is very specific to the geographic location. Because of the conditions of the geography of that region, it is very suitable solution. There is technical innovation involved, and there is social innovation involved, wherein people come together to form groups, institutions like government schemes or local district offices come together to form the social innovation part of it, and together they achieve sustainable sources of not only drinking water, but water for their agricultural purposes and so on. So, let us summarize what we did today. So, we discussed on the product innovation level, product service system innovation level, spatio-social innovation level and socio-technical system innovation level, one particular example. You can try your hands on taking another example and think how do you use it in all these different levels, what can be your approach. So, I will repeat the summary that we did in the last lecture. Why I am repeating it? Because now since we took one example and took the entire journey, you might be better able to appreciate the beauty of the sustainability as a concept. So, the concept of sustainability is not a static goal. My initial goal was, okay, let me give people 200 ml of water. It kept on evolving. Okay, what happens with 200 ml of water? You just cannot, there are contexts when you can't afford it, there are contexts when it. So, if in Ladakh we tried to reach too many of 200 ml water bottles, I would be creating such a huge environmental degradation over there, whereas that region is the place where most of our glaciers originate from and they give us all the water. So, the concept of sustainability is not a static goal, it is dynamic and it keeps on moving its target, responding to our ever increasing understanding of interdependencies between social and ecological system. The video that you saw from the example of rejuvenating river, that clearly helps you in understanding that since the understanding of interdependency between social and ecological systems improved, now we know that okay, sustainability does not come by bringing in changes in the medium of packages, but it from my static goal it converted into a more and more and more dynamic goal as we kept on going ahead from one level to another. So, and also sustainability is a system property, it is not a property of individual element of the system. If we just change the bottle, that is not going to bring in sustainability, because it is just an individual element of the system. Therefore, achieving sustainability requires a process based, multi-scale, systemic approach to planning for sustainability guided by a target or vision. So, you could see the target or vision becoming bigger and bigger from level 2 to level 3 to level 4. Approaches solely aiming to generate technological solutions for sustainability problems tend to generate techno-fixes. These techno-fixes target issues in isolation, disregard systemic intervention opportunities, and while seemingly solving a problem at a point in system, only transfer that problem to another point. What happens to that denim when you no longer want to use that jacket or the trousers? There is no answer to that, there is no recycling for that. So, I just transferred the problem of the PET bottles from point A in time to point B in time, and I have no solution for point B. So, techno-fixes has that limitation. On the other hand, a sole focus on social innovation is not likely to achieve the levels of change required in large socio-technical systems meeting society's energy, mobility or housing or infrastructure needs. In that particular context, we need to use social innovation along with technological innovation. So, our framework helps us to visualize linkages, overlaps and complementaries, and we can see how we can take aspects from each of these levels and come up to the most optimal solution possible. So, our reading material is the same for this lecture as well. If you have not read it already, in the next 2 lectures of this week, we will start with module 2, which will deal with product life cycle design methods and strategies. Basically, this is how we by using this method we do eco design, the approach to of product innovation level. Why do we learn about this process? This is, although it has its own limitations that it only talks about the production side, it does nothing about the consumption side, but this is a very very important body of knowledge, because it is the only body of knowledge which helps you to quantify the energy, the waste, the emissions, the amount of natural resources that we are using for making a product. As a result of which I can compare 2 products, as a result of which I can compare 2 processes. So, only when we know about these product life cycle design methods and strategies, when we develop design and develop solutions at level 2, 3 or 4, we will be able to check what degree of sustainability could we bring in the through our design intervention. So, thank you, see you in the next lecture.